meeting for the first time. Nevertheless, thank you all for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Helen Amsterdam, originally from Georgetown, Guyana, but I've been living in Brooklyn, New York for the last 23 years. I am a retired teacher, having taught for 47 years total, both in Guyana and in New York. Before I came here, I worked in the Ministry of Education as an education officer for special education. And then I moved on to become the senior program officer at the Olga Byrne Youth Center, which is a youth arm for the Guyana Responsible Parenthood Association. So you'll notice where my love has been for working with kids and their families. Now I'm on to a new venture. But before I start my presentation, I just want to ask you, why are you here? What motivated you to join this Zoom? Maybe one or two of you can open up your mic and speak, or maybe you can put it in the chat. But why are you here? What motivated you to join this Zoom? Anyone want to respond? Okay, I'm going to move on whilst I'm waiting for responses.
Hi, Miss
But then,
Arlene.
hi,
Hi,
hi.
it's Janae. So basically, I need to be on every single call, to further educate. And I think it's really important to also be learning from you, right? You are my teammate. You are my friend, growing into my friend. And I think this is amazing. And kudos to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so great. Whatever your reason is for being here, well, I hope I will be able to fulfill that desire. Whatever you desire to get out of this presentation, I hope that I'll be able to do that. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, I am onto a new venture, which has positioned me to become part of a national campaign for financial literacy. And guess what? I recently learned a new concept, the new art of living, which basically explains how people struggle financially. And when I say people, I'm including myself, and with due respect, maybe to all of you, how we struggle financially and what we as financial educators on this campaign need to do to lead people, families towards financial freedom. So let's focus our attention on the slide, because this is what I'll be using for the presentation. And it says the new art of living, and we are empowering families with our 3 philosophies. So I'm going to deal with the first scenario. Here we see that there are 3 families, and all 3 of these families have a mortgage to the tune of $1 million, a debt. One family makes an income of $50,000 a year, another family, $100,000, and a third family, $500,000 annually. Who will pay it off faster? Of course, if I was that family with the 500,000, I would pay my mortgage off faster. So the question is, what is the real problem? Is the problem the debt of the $1 million mortgage? Or is the real problem income multiplication? For those of us who are homeowners, we don't own a house. Listen to what I'm saying. For those of us who are homeowners, we don't own a house. We own a mortgage. And that is something that we need to let sink in. Now, if you look at the slide here, on one side it says income will never be multiplied with skills and hours. And that's what we refer to as single-handed income. Now, for example, we were taught to go to school. I'm quite sure many of you have parents, siblings, whatever. We told us to go to school. We got to go to university, qualify yourself, get a job, work long hours, because that's how I grew up back in Guyana. Society is so certificate oriented that that's what we've been taught. Go back, and sometimes you have to go back to school. Like when I came here, I had to return to school. So we exchange skills because we have to sharpen our craft, whatever. Like I wanted to do social work, I wanted to teach, so I had to become trained and skilled in teaching. So we exchange our skills and hours working for others, but money is never enough. You know what the problem is? We were taught to work hard for money, but what we weren't taught is how to make our money work hard for us. That's why we, on this financial literacy campaign, emphasize this system of multi-handed income. And that's our first philosophy, which is basically teaching you how to multiply your income or make it grow. And that's the only way your income will multiply, through the system of multi-handed income. Now, do you think, this question is for you guys, do you think that you can 5 times or 10 times your salary with single-handed income? Would you get that freedom of time that you want to spend that quality time with your family if you're working with single-handed income? What about a different lifestyle? Because I know all of you, this is my assumption, who are still working, single-handed income. What about creating generational wealth? Now, I can tell you my story as a single parent, single-handed income. As I mentioned to you, the skills that I went through from trained teacher certificate, diploma certificate in special education, that's back home, uh, um, a diploma and a bachelor's in social work, and then up here, the master's in special education. And those were long years of toiling. When I came up here, and as a single parent, I'm still a single parent of 2 sons. I left my house from 6 in the morning, and sometimes I could remember one time getting home at 11 p.m. because when school finish at 2 and the kids are dismissed, I'm there preparing for the next day, doing slides, whatever it took me to be prepared. Then the other thing is when I was doing my master's, because I had to do it, I went to school on Sundays. Friday nights after school, I'm in the laundromat with my son. He's doing his homework, I'm doing the laundry. Saturday, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I'm preparing for Monday school. Sunday, I gone to school. And that's my story, single-handed income. And do you think that I was able to 5 times or 10 times my income? No. What I did was 5 times and 10 times my debt, because I chalked up about $13,000 going to Spain for school, and that was on an American Express card. I had a house in Guyana to pay off the mortgage, right? And the credit card went up. So instead of 5 times and 10 times my income, through single-handed income, I 5 times and 10 times my debt. So that is why we, as on this national campaign, financial literacy campaign, is encouraging parents and families that multi-handed income is the way to go, to be able to 5 times or 10 times your income, to be able to get that freedom of time that you want, to live a better lifestyle, and more so to be able to create generational wealth. So which pathway goes to your dream? It's not about changing the vehicle or the work. It's about changing the path. And that reminded me of, I would say, For those of you who from the Caribbean or from Guyana, you know, many of the roads are full of potholes. So you're going down the road and you're driving. Are you going to change your car or are you going to find another path to go in the direction to where you want to go? So it's not changing your work, but it's just changing the path, the direction of where you want to go. And that can only be achieved through multi-handed income. Now, I know a lot of us like to Google. We're always on Google. And if you search on Google Chat GPT, it states there that what is the biggest regret that Americans and Canadians have is not saving enough. So to put families on the path of wealth creation, we empower them with the second philosophy, which is the 10%, three rules, three goals. So let's look at the 10%. What does the Bible say about tithing? Who can put it in the chat or tell me what does the Bible say about tithing? Anyone? I'm quite sure that we know that the Bible tells us that we must set aside 10% of our income to the church through tithes. And that's very good. I want you to hear that's very good. I would not sit here and tell you don't do that. That's very good. Then why can't we make ourselves a priority and set aside a minimum 10% in a separate account that has three rules? Minimum. Some of us may be able to put more, but a minimum 10%. So first thing, your 10% tithe goes to God. And then the second thing is yourself. Prioritize. You're not budgeting here now. You prioritize and put a minimum of 10% in an account that has three rules. And the first rule is compound. That means to double and increase. Does your money double in the bank? Are there some persons here who, like me, who throw box hand or susu? I always tell the story about me throwing box hand for 47 years. Way back in Guyana, 47 years. My mom had passed. She was throwing a box with her twin sister, and she died. And I picked it up. And from then on till now, as I'm sitting here, I still throw box. But it doesn't double. What you put in the susu is the same thing you take out. And I'm not telling anybody here not to throw susu. Your money, when it goes into the bank, you might barely get a 0.2%, but it does not double. So what we encourage is to put your money in a separate account, the 10%, where it compounds, it increases. The second rule is risk-free. And let me go back to that box hand. I don't know if you've ever heard anybody had issues with box hand. Thank God for the 47 years, I never had issues. But I know of two instances where I used to work, a woman received her box hand and she decided that's it, she didn't pay. Then I know of a friend who was a box holder. Her sister used to throw a box and the sister passed. She had to continue that money. And only last year, at the end of the year, the person who had to receive their money, they passed. But fortunately, the money was there for the family to get. So we're talking about risk-free. You want to put your money in an account where it is risk-free, meaning you won't lose it. How many of you on this platform is working in a job or an organization where you're getting a 401k or a 403b or whatever your job offers? Do you know that when you put it there, when the stock market crashes, what happens to your money? I have a friend living right here. I was speaking to her the other day. She told me, she said, Helen, I lost money twice. So we're saying, put your 10% in an account where you will not lose any money. And then the third rule is tax-free, where we know what's going on right now. The tariffs and taxes going up. I have a story to share again. I'm a retired teacher, and I had what you call, or still have, TDA, tax deferred annuity. And I'm going to tell you something. I started saving in that, must be about 2 or 3 years since I came to this country. I know I was saving in it. I don't even know if I realized the value in it or whatever it was, but I know I was saving for retirement. And what happened? Just a few months ago, I have a house in Guyana, I had to do some repairs. And I had to withdraw some money from that TDA. We're talking about tax-free. From that TDA, I needed $70,000. And when I applied for it, it was approved. But Uncle Sam took 20%. So instead of getting 70,000, I got 56,000. Now, if I had my money in an account, which was tax-free, where it was compounding, or there was no risk, then I would not have had to pay that 20%. So I'm asking you this question. Is your money compounding? Is it risk? And is it tax-free wherever you have it? Think about it for a while. Now let's look at the 3 goals. We're on to the second philosophy, 10% 3 rules, 3 goals. Let's look at the 3 goals. The first goal is income protection. Do you know if anyone, whether it's a family member or a friend, or you might have read it on the news or heard somebody talk about it, where that person took sick, they were diagnosed with cancer or stroke or heart attack? What happens to that person? They can't go to work. They get more sick. Some people kind of rebound, but then, you got to go for chemo. What happens? Depending on the type of job that you're working in, that single-handed job, income, sometimes you lose pay. Those who might be paying rent, you can't pay the rent. Those of us who got mortgage, we fall short. What happens? I know of a guy who lived here. He had a house in Guyana. Thank God he had a house in Guyana. He got ill, couldn't pay his mortgage, couldn't cover his rest of debt because you're thinking now about medication and care. What happened to him? When he passed, his children had to find themselves to different families because they lost the house. So here we're talking about income protection. Why do you think there's so much GoFundMe cropping up today? And I'm not saying this with any disrespect or any negativity, because this can happen to anyone. It can happen to any one of us. If we don't know, if we don't protect our income and things happen suddenly, then the only alternative our family or our kids have to do is maybe a GoFundMe. That's one of the ways they get money to bury us. Income protection. So we need to put our money in a separate account where it will be protected, where it will compound. Then the second goal is income replacement. Now, again, I can tell you about that. For those of us who retire, you look forward to getting your pension and Social Security. I am fortunate to get that. There are some persons who don't get both because some people retire at a younger age. But God has been good to me. And it's good to be senior sometimes. I came off and was fortunate to get pension and Social Security, but it's not enough. You find that some people return to work to supplement their income. With me, my pension, when I get it, it goes straight over to my mortgage. I'm left with $90 from the pension. So what am I living on? My Social Security and some savings that I have. So we have to be able to have our money, that 10% minimum we're asking you to place in a separate account where it's not only protected, but then it can help to replace when we retire. And then the last rule is generational wealth. Now, I'm quite sure many of you here who might be younger than me or about the same age have plans for our kids. We want to see them go to college. We may want to help them get their first car. We might want to see them marry or even maybe go back to school or get to buy their first home. I've known of parents who have contributed to their kids getting that. I was blessed again to get a house in Guyana from my parents. And I was blessed, I'm using the word blessed, to be able to pay off both mortgages, right? And that is why sometimes we hear people say, do not compare yourself with others, because some people might feel that I have a house there and I have a house here, I'm rich. No, it's not rich. It's just how you deal with your money. But I'm saying again, I'm using myself as an example. Had I put my money in an account where it was compounding, where it was risk-free, and where it was tax-free, I might have been in a better off position today. So to be able to create generational wealth, we have to use the system of multi-handed income, because I'm quite sure that you would want to do the same thing. So do you know what affects your money? The first three rules that we spoke about, that's what affects your money. The compounding effect. If that 10% is placed in an account where the money is doubling and multiplying, right? Then you'll be able to accumulate more money. And that's called the accumulation phase. Then your money is also affected by risk, as I mentioned before. If it's in another account other than the one that we are encouraging you to do, then the stock market, when it falls, you lose. So we call that the protection phase, because you want to put it where it's going to be protected. And then the last phase is the tax effect phase. And I mentioned to you my experience where my money was taxed. And every time I think about that $14,000 that Uncle Sam took, I'm saying that's $2 million in Guyana. So we encourage, put your money in an account where it's compounding, it's accumulating, or it's protected, that's a protection phase, or it's not affected by tax, it's tax-free, and that's the distribution phase. Because when you decide to take out of it, let us say you put in 500,000, you're getting 500,000 plus. Nowhere do you want to get less. People utilize various financial products, but they don't know if these three rules are in their favor. Now, the biggest suffering of our society today is not lack of opportunities. The opportunities out there. But it is three distinct things: self-doubt, low confidence, and fear of what others think. I just returned like 3 weeks ago from the convention in Texas. And I was really touched to see, I'm saying young man because I know he's not in my age group, in a wheelchair. And I always remember in special education, I always said, it's not the disability, but it's the ability that counts. He is in a wheelchair, born like that, and is making 100,000 K. He is so positive. His confidence is so high that he was able to say to over 4,000 of us there, I told my dad, you don't have to bother about you employing me. I'm going to employ myself. And he said that the biggest thing that is keeping you back is what between your two ears, your brain. Self-doubt. I'm quite certain each one of us experienced that at some point in time. Say things like, I can't do it. Well, my response to that is, how do you know that you can't do it if you don't try? Or I'm not ready yet. When are you going to ready? It reminds me of the chorus we sing at church. It only takes a spark to get a fire going. Some people, if I'm switch a little to baptize, I'm not ready yet. You get baptized, and then God is going to work with you because everything is transitional. The change is not going to happen right away. So we got to stop with this. I can't do it. I'm not ready yet, or I'm going to do it tomorrow. Why put off something that you can do today to do it tomorrow? Tomorrow waits on no man. So because of the environment that we're in, when people saying are certain things, fear of what others think. I'm telling you right here now, when I think about that statement, I don't know what others are thinking because I can't read their mind. And even if they say to me verbally, I really don't care. I remember when I was going to buy this house in 2021, and I know what my cousin meant well. I remember her saying to me, I don't know if I would have encouraged my mom to buy a house at your age. And I know she meant well. She was buying her house and preparing for her daughter. I wanted to buy this house because I believe in generational wealth, and I wanted to make sure that both of my sons have a house. I listened to her, but she expressed her thoughts, but I took it in good faith, but I didn't bother with her because I would have gone through self-doubt, low self-confidence, and then I would have not have been where I am today. So because our environment does not support self-improvement, right? We suffer from these three things. Self-improvement is the only way to live a blissful life and make our world better. What holds people back from such life-changing chances? Bad experiences from the past, self-created illusions, preoccupied perspective. And sometimes this happens when we sit and we watch each other people. I wonder what she's doing. I remember, I'm quite certain your parents used to say to you, don't judge a book by the cover. Don't compare yourself with people. You don't know what people are doing to get where they are. And sometimes it could be legitimate means. And those are the things I keep remembering. Bad experiences from the past. Again, from the Dallas Convention. There was this woman who wrote the license exam 16 times and she got through. I have never heard of any exam place where you go to write an exam and they say to you, after you write it, no, you can't write it again. The opportunities out there for you to go and go and go again until you get it. And even when you fail, right, it breeds success because you try again. And my familiar statement that I will share with you that some of you might have heard before, I love it. It says, defeat is not when you fall down, but defeat is when you fail to rise up again. So I will say, go and keep going and keep going. I recently came across a statement that Serena Williams said. She said, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your work. So my advice to you is, yes, you had a bad experience in the past, but then you got to try again. Stop thinking about what other people thinking because we can't read the minds. Because whilst you thinking what they're thinking, they are moving ahead. But some people always stay open to learn new perspectives towards a bright future. And that's what I've been doing. It's not the opportunity, it's the perspective towards the opportunity. Remember, we said before the opportunities out there. I give my students in school and in church, a class I teach, a scenario. If we are moving off from here to go to King's Plaza, how are you going to get there? Some say they're going to take a bus. Some say the parents going to drop them. Some say they're going to go on a motorcycle. Some said that they're going to take a hire car. But along that journey to get there, things happen. Roadblock, tire flatten, accident, whatever it is, or you have to diverge. Are you going to turn back? No, you're not going to get there the same time, but you're going to get there eventually. And that's what we're saying here. The opportunity is there. You just got to divert to get there. So those of you who stay open towards learning always find ways to transform their life. My friends and family, and whoever is here for the first time, if you are one of those who are hungry for success and open-minded, and if you are one of those who want to join this national campaign for financial literacy, and to help us with our 3 philosophies to share to the families out there, we have 3 options here. We can enroll you on this platform in our program where you can join with us to help yourself through a multi-handed income approach, or you can become a client where we can teach you about where to put that 10%, the 3 rules and the 3 goals, or we enroll you where you get lifetime access to the webinars and the workshops and the trainings so that you can improve yourself. And I'm thinking that by improving yourself, you will eventually be able to become multi-handed, do your 10%, 3 rules, 3 goals, and make life better for you and your family so that you can 5 times, 10 times your income. You can live the lifestyle you want to live. You could have that freedom of time and also create generational wealth. I thank you for listening. And now we will send you this. What do we call this? I forget the name of this here. Miss King, do they have to
A QR
what is
code.
it?
Wow,
The
wow.
QR code. Do they
Yes.
have to scan it?
Yes. You can
Yes,
take
if
your
you
phone or a picture. Yes. You can.
yeah,
Thank you.
so
Oh,
we will have an idea of what it is you're looking for. I want to thank you so much for listening and engaging. And just to let you know, next weekend, I know Miss King will talk more about this, but next weekend, a team of us will be in Atlanta and she will give you more details. So if you have anybody here Atlanta in the house, welcome. I'll
awesome.
now hand you over to the Senior Manager Director, Miss King.
Wow, wow, wow. Good evening, everybody. I'm super excited. Miss Helen, you crushed it. I'm so grateful to be in alignment and be working with a retired educator. It's a blessing, and I'm forever grateful. So, guys, thank you guys so much for being on this Saturday afternoon. I have here a flyer. If you know anyone, okay, if you know anyone in the Atlanta, Georgia area, myself and a couple of us will be heading down there on Friday coming, August 15th. And we were going to be on the ground, right? Boots on the ground, sharing this financial literacy campaign because we know firsthand as an educator myself, along with Miss Helen, that this information is not taught in schools, in colleges, in universities. And I think, let me see if she's on. I think I just saw her. Yeah, she's on. Okay. So I know this is impromptu. And if you cannot say anything, I'm always doing this. I'm always pulling out some VIP that I see on the Zoom. If you cannot speak, that's fine. But I'm going to give you a minute if you want to share something. But the Guyana Association of Georgia proudly presents their business expo. And we just happened to have, because I sent her a text message, I said, hey, if you're not doing anything, just hop on. So Miss Sandra Bob, who is the person responsible for putting together this amazing business expo. We're super, super duper blessed to be able to be one of the vendors, one of the exhibitors, one of the businesses that's going to be there next Saturday, August 16th from 10 to 4. So, again, if you know people in the Georgia area, this is a free event open to the public. You guys are welcome to come by, get to meet and greet, engage with us, see how we can help you, and so many other vendors that are going to be there. Miss Sandra Bob, are you able to speak or share anything about the event? Yes, no? Can you unmute your mic? Okay, I guess not. All right, so we'll continue. So to attend this event, I'm going to share with you guys my link, right? And let's talk about this link. So this is my website, odettaking.com/health and wealth. I'm gonna also put it in the Zoom chat. So let's type this, odettaking.com/health and wealth. I'm going to recommend that you guys all save this link, odettaking.com/health and wealth. As you guys can see, next Tuesday of this coming week, we're going to have an encore of this same presentation on the 12th. That's going to be Tuesday at 7:30, right? And here is the link to register. If you know people in Georgia and you want to send them the flyer, they could also click here to register. Like I said, it's a free event that's open to the public, right? That's happening next week, Saturday, and you can come here to this website, just register, right? If you live in the Brooklyn, New York area, right, on the 27th of September, we will have our Coins and Conversation pop up, which is going to be right here in Brooklyn. So if you know any vendors, any business owners, entrepreneurs that wants to promote and exhibit their business, this is where the public can register to attend. It is open and free to the public, and those of you who have businesses that want to be part of the event, you'll just get in touch with us, and the phone number is right here at the top, 973-842-7927. Anything that Miss Helen said today that resonates with you, maybe you're interested in learning more about the business opportunity, maybe you're interested in about saving the 10 rules, 3 goals, and 3 rules, or maybe you want to learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we help family and be part of this winning environment, right? You can schedule a one-on-one, and then you're going to come right here. Everything is here on this link. That's why I'm telling you, you got to save this link, right? You're going to come right here where it says book your one-on-one, and you're going to schedule a one-on-one, and make sure that the person who invited you, you connect with them. This way we're all on the same page. All right. We're all on the same page. And today is such a busy day, right? We've got one more event where we're celebrating one of our latest millionaire. Guys, when we talk about 5x and 10x your income, this is not a joke. This is real, okay? At your job, there is nothing to 5x and 10x when it comes to income. Maybe you're going 5x and 10x working hard, right? But when it comes to earning income, your income potential, we have a saying here in WFG, we turn our annual income to monthly, and then we turn our monthly income into one pay cycle. One pay cycle every Tuesday and every Friday we get paid. So that's about 8 or 9 times per month. And tonight we're going to be celebrating Nurse Gilbert and his beautiful wife Nadesh. They're our most recent millionaire. We've had, oh my God, so many millionaires we've already celebrated since the year started. It seems like every month there's somebody. We just celebrated Dr. Ruth last month, and prior to her was another nurse. I forgot his name. And now we've got another nurse this month in what we just got into August. So it's like every month we're popping out a millionaire. So I encourage you guys to, if you know anyone in the medical field, or you don't even have to be in the medical field, just come on, be blessed. This is open to the public. And I will tell you that these webinars gets filled out really, really quick. Once it reaches 1,000 person max, then we live stream on YouTube, but sometimes the YouTube link doesn't work. Sometimes you get locked out. So I'm just telling you ahead of time, if you get locked out, please do not call or text me. I have no control over that. Okay. All I will tell you is get in there 5 to 10 minutes before. This way you're in the main room. And tonight we're going to be celebrating another millionaire. Listen, you want to clap for them because guess what? You're next. Okay. You are next. So, with that being said, we look forward to connecting with you on a one on one to see what is it you're exactly looking to do or help with. And it's Saturday. If you're not out and about doing anything, this is the environment we're talking about where it's going to be self improvement, where you're going to see people like yourself winning. And it's all about being in a winning environment so we could knock down the self-doubt, right? If you never thought you could make a million, or you didn't know how it was going to happen or where it's coming from, or you never even thought about it, we want you to throw that out the window right now. So we'll see you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And take a picture of this flyer so you have the Zoom code handy. And with that being said, thank you guys so very much. And Miss Helen, you totally rock.
Thank you. Working under you and Johnny. I don't know which one of you will send me crazy, but I'm going to work. I open my big mouth and say that I don't have to leave a job. I have the time. So now I see y'all have me working. But it's the team spirit. We're all here to support each other. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, my batchmate Sybil from Atlanta, Georgia, and Canterbury. Good seeing you on. Ladies, hopefully we'll see you on tonight. This flyer here at 8 o'clock to see the big ones, how they're doing it out there. And remember, remove that self-doubt. Work hard for yourself and make the bucks rather than you're working hard for others. Feel that dream. Brooklyn, stand up from the